Hello guys, today we're talking about horror movies. Internet can be a pretty scary place full of creepy stuff, especially when Halloween comes around. Meet eyeZy, the most powerful monitoring app for a parent to keep their kids safe online. The best part, you can get it with a 50% off discount. So hurry up, link in the description. I don't know about your kids, but mine loves horror. The scarier, the better. Turns out there are reasons why kids love scary and creepy things. For starters, horror movies give us an adrenaline rush. And who doesn't like this feeling? The next thing is, when kids develop negative self-images, they begin to identify themselves with creepy characters. And your task here is to find some positive qualities of these characters that your child also has. Horror movies can also help kids to overcome some family difficulties. By identifying with the characters of the film who overcome the dangers in the form of monsters, they can find some kind of relief. So, here is a list of the top 6 horror movies for you and your kids to get in the Halloween spirit. Number 6. It. The story takes place in a small town of Derry, where a young boy in Maine goes missing and a group of 7 kids find out the killer is not a man. The killer is the evil clown Pennywise. And because movie kids will be movie kids, they decide to fight and kill it. But how can they fight something who knows all their biggest fears? Number 5. Monster House. This computer animated movie has so much stuff to scare the hell out of you. A creepy house, a crazy neighbor, and teenage kids who want to know what's going on in that house. And obviously, the action takes place on Halloween night. Just check it out. Number 4. The Hole. This one's a story about 2 brothers and the cute girl next door. They find a hole in their basement with no end and soon realize that it's a gateway to hell. Once they take the locks off, their darkest fears begin to haunt them. Can they overcome them? Number 3. The House with a Clock in its Walls. This is another mystery story about a boy, Louis Barnevalt, who lost his parents and has to live with his uncle Jonathan. The boy soon finds out his uncle is a warlock and the house he lives in now, all the objects in it come alive at night. What does that have to do with a clock? That's for you to find out. Number 2. Goosebumps. The story takes place in a small town, Greendale, where the main character Zach moves with his mother Gail. The boy meets his neighbors, a beautiful girl and her creepy father, who turns out to be a horror story writer that keeps the monsters locked up in each book, one of which Zach accidentally opens, and that releases one of the monsters. And that's where all the fun begins. Number 1. Night Books. The main character in this one is Alex. He's a scary story writer held captive by a witch. The only thing keeping him alive, if he writes a story every night, she won't kill him. But he soon decides to run away with the witch's servant, Yasmin, facing various dangers. Can they do it before the witch kills them? So this is my list of horror movies that are safe to let your kids watch. But there are some films that are too scary even for adults. If you're a tough cookie, you can watch them. But you might want to invite a friend over to help you feel safe. And try not to crap your pants when kids come trick-or-treating. So, let's go. Number 10. Silent Hill. This one's a story about a woman, Rose, whose daughter Sharon goes missing in a small town in a parallel reality. And now she has to fight the power of this town to get her daughter back. Number 9. The Witch. This is a story about a family of colonists who leave the plantation to live on a farm next to the forest in New England. But soon the youngest child disappears, and that's when all the scary things start to happen. Number 8. Halloween. After escaping from a mental institution, crazy killer Michael Myers comes to his town to complete what he hasn't finished in 40 years, killing Laurie Strode. But this time, Laurie is ready for him. Number 7. The Invisible Man. The film follows Cecilia, who receives the news of her abusive ex-boyfriend's suicide. She begins to rebuild her life for the better. However, her sense of reality is put into question when she begins to suspect her deceased lover is not actually dead. Number 6. Hereditary. When the main character's mom passes away, her family begins to unravel terrifying secrets about their origin. The more they discover, the more they find themselves trying to outrun the sinister fate they seem to have inherited. Number 5. Annihilation. After something happens to her husband on a top secret mission, the main heroine Lena leads a research team into an unprecedented biological disaster of alien origin, but does not find what she's expecting. Number 4. It Follows. After innocent sex, 19-year-old Jay can't get rid of the feeling that someone or something is following her. Now she and her friends have to find a way to escape the horrors that seem to be a few steps behind. Number 3. Hush. This is a story about a deaf and mute writer. Being retreated into the woods to live a solitary life, she has to fight for her life in silence when a masked killer appears at her window. Number 2. The Conjuring. This one takes place in an old farmhouse in Rhode Island, where paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren work to help a family terrorized by a dark presence. Number 1. Sinister. This is the scariest movie I've ever seen. Writer Allison Oswalt moves his family into a house whose previous owners were murdered to write a book about it. While investigating the case, he finds footage of the family, only to discover that it's more than he bargained for. If you scared your neighbors by screaming while watching one of these movies, you definitely shouldn't let your child do the same. But how can you make sure they won't watch them? By using a monitoring app like eyeZy. Find out if they're typing these film titles in searches. Or you can simply block movie streaming sites like Netflix, Hulu, YouTube, and Amazon Prime. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe, hit the bell icon, and write a comment if you want to see more videos like this.